Welcome to the Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth podcast with Gary Helt. Gary is an expert in helping business owners put together a plan that will provide a better future for their businesses, themselves, and their families. On the podcast, Gary interviews other professionals who share his vision, and together they share secrets and strategies any business owner can use to build a better financial foundation for your business and your life.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This week, my guest is Tyson Ray, and he is the CEO of Form Wealth Advisors and the host of the Total Succession Show. And he's also an author of an upcoming book of Total Succession. With over 25 years in wealth management, Tyson helps financial advisors and business owners exit their businesses confidently by fully being compensated and keeping their clients' best interest in center. Welcome, Tyson.
Thanks for having me on, Gary.
Sure. So you give us your background kind of before you got into the succession planning, and then we'll talk more about why you decided succession planning is where you want to be.
Yep. So the short version, I had the folks that divorced and grew up with an eviction notice on the fridge because dad left mom with a bunch of kids, and I started waiting tables and trying to save money in my little chubby chipmunk bank account. And by the time I was 16, I got to find out what stocks were about, and I tried to convince my mom to let me invest in stocks. And of course, there was no way in hell she was going to let me do that because risk and all this other stuff. But I dragged her in and was able to convince her with the stockbroker that I could put $100 a month of my little wages into mutual funds. And then when I turned 18, she couldn't tell me anymore. Off I went and investing. And I eventually came back out of college and went into the profession of financial services, financial advising, helping people manage money. Because I had spent the better part of 6 years trying to tell my mom, like, wait, this works. Like this reinvestment, market growth, right? Whatever. Acquired some businesses, grew, was quite successful. It was probably 20 years, into the business. I don't want to say it was getting boring, but it's like we all need challenges. Mm-hmm. And I had stumbled across a couple clients' businesses that I tried to help them navigate the catastrophe of either one was the child that they're going to turn the business over to, or the other one was selling it to the junior partner that was like a daughter to this guy after all these years, and just trying to negotiate with them and keep them from screwing up the terms when they got lawyered up and they got into the weeds of it versus what the plan was, what was the purpose. So anyway, in 2018, I found out about these certifications in exit planning and succession planning. And so I got one, went through that rigmarole, have consulted some businesses along the way. Our industry, the financial services industry, has about a third of the industry retiring in the next 5 to 7 years. There's a whole lot of businesses just in the United States. The baby boomers really are making this final transition and push to these transitions to their businesses to somebody else. And so I just wanted to tool up to have the resources to help speak into people making wise decisions and how they can not regret what they do when they finally leave their business, and help them really realize you need to be doing a little bit of this before that ever happens. Right. And what does that mean? So that's kind of what the book is about. It's for financial advisors, although it could be picked up and read by anybody. But in the meantime, it's just sharing, and hopefully today we can just share with some people to cause some thoughts, to maybe cause some actions to make things better.
Yeah. In going through this process, obviously, doing the advising on your own and teaching people, what are some of the common mistakes that you see people making besides not coming to you to talk about this until they're ready to sell?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ones is, and it's usually in extremes, is you have the business owner that poured everything back into the business. Mm-hmm. They capped their lifestyle. They did everything to grow that business. And then you have the other business owner who pulled those earnings out, took some profits, enjoyed their life, built some wealth outside of the business that makes the sale optional. It makes the sale not your rest of your life is dependent on this sale. And I really see there's not a lot in the middle there. I really see extremes where you have somebody that their only asset is this business. And if they want to retire, or they want to be done with the business, they have to sell that. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stress when that's your nest egg and that's it. Right. Different from I just had another client that we worked with that he's just like, nope, it was gifted to me from my parents. I've taken a lot of money out. I've built my wealth. I don't need to worry about my everything. I'm now going to give it to my son. And we worked through what the terms were. And it was different from another client that it's everything's in the business. And now they're going to try and turn it over to their child and monetize their retirement around their child's neck, hoping they're going to be out of the finances. There's two. So one of the biggest things takeaway is there's a balance to reinvesting in the business to make the business healthy. And there's a balance of taking money out of the business to take risk off the table to lessen the stress of and to diversify your wealth out of this legacy asset called your business.
So, in going through that also, I'm going to say setting the next generation up with the business. So many people start out that they're very good tacticians, and then they have this business, which lots of times I'm going to say that they really own a job, not a business. How do you help them develop that to get them to where they are moving on? And because again, the business is about me, not what it is. So how do you get them to help them transition that?
Yeah, so one of it's to try and understand, and I would say I agree with you. They own a job. I would actually say they own jobs, plural, right? And part of it is to find out, can we relieve you of some of the jobs you hate, but you're the only one that's doing them? And can you actually let go that somebody else could maybe do it better or differently or more efficiently? That gives you more energy for your family, for your recreation, or for you pouring yourself into things that give you energy in the job.
Right.
I'm a big believer in life that, kind of like the Energizer Bunny, it's like, or battery, we're positive or we're negative. Like things that we do either give us energy or take it from us. And I can stay in my office until 3 o'clock in the morning with wanting to it just sucks the life out of me to drag myself through. I probably procrastinated to finish this thing. Or I could be there at 3 o'clock in the morning. I could stay till 5 because it's just like, this is awesome. And I'm onto something. I'm figuring it out. Helping you as a business owner think about, if you're listening to this, what just fires you up and what just sucks. And the suck category, can we find other people to take over the how of what that is, to take it off your plate for one of two reasons. One, the more you diversify your leadership team and the responsibilities at that executive level, the more your business is worth because it might be sustainable without you. And two, the more energy you might have to stick around if you want to stick around. Because some businesses get to this crisis moment, and that's what I really want to try and help businesses not do. When you get to the emotional point of I've had it, I'm out, you make bad decisions. And if you can catch yourself in that attitude or in those feelings before you start reacting to those things, you can make really wise decisions.
Right. You have also created the space framework program. Can you talk to
Yep.
us about that, and what each steps means and how it will help business owners plan their exit?
Yeah. So I think one of space came to me. The word space, if you think about it, is both time, space and time, space and physical proximity to things, just space in your schedule, right? To let yourself, whether it's to think, where do you need to go physically? What space do you need to physically be in? What amount of time do you need to create for yourself in your calendar? So what's that space? And what does your headspace energy level need to be to think about what do you want? Like the urgent crowd's out the important. We're on this treadmill of life and we're just hammering through. And even myself at different stages of my life, like I lost focus of what do you want? So one is space is just making time, location, and giving yourself the energy you need to basically now think about breaking down that space in the terms of, it's an acronym of seeing what is it that you want. A planning tactic is to plan backwards, execute forwards. So what do you want at the end of your life? Do you want to leave money to your kids? Do you want to leave money to charities? How long do you think you're going to live? Okay, now realistically pick a number. 80, 90, 100. All right, 100. All right, well, how many years do you think you're, back up? All right, probably 10 years of not doing a whole lot, maybe 15, maybe another 10 or 15 is slowing down. So you maybe have some real activity from maybe 65 to 75. Okay, do you want to be working during that? Are you working right now? So back up. What do you see yourself into this future from the end to the present? What is your spouse, significant other, partner, the person that you love that's part of your life that's coming along for this ride? What do they see? What do they want? What do you want for your kids when they get married or when they start having kids? Or what do you want? How do you want to provide for them? What do you want to be doing for them? And do you see these things? And the reality is, it sounds like a lot, but our minds can visualize some of this stuff in instances.
Mhm.
What is that? Write it down, big, high level. What is it? Now, P is for prepare. What do you need to prepare for to make some of these things you saw reality? Write those things out. Okay. The A is now, what do we need to actually take action on? What do we need to prioritize of this prepare list? What are some of the low hanging fruits, or who do we need to delegate some of those action items to start preparing for what we saw? As we're going now through this process, it's what do we need to commit to? What did we in this process see that we need to let go of or pursue, do more of, do less of? Are we going to now commit to making that happen? Who's going to help us in that commitment? Who's the accountability partner? How are we going to make sure we're going to get this done? To exit. And here's the reality. You're going to exit your business one of two ways. You're going to, while you're living or when you're dead, and on purpose, or you're reacting to it. And what I want you to be able to do is I would like you to be able to exit into what you saw. And why I did this space framework and why I think we need to kind of begin with the end in mind with seeing things first is I think too many business owners lose sight of an exit is a negative. It is an end. It's over. I'm losing my identity. I'm losing my control. This is who I am. I can't do this anymore. And I believe an exit is an opportunity to open a door into something new that if you thought about it, you would probably define what that is, and you can now exit into something. And it's basically the whole point is you can have your business till you're dead. You can.
Right. Yep.
But you might be happier if you see that and then prepare and act and commit and delegate some things away so you have more joy while you own your business until you're dead. Although you still need a succession plan of when you're dead, who's getting it.
Right.
And it's just none of it. The plumber's pipes leak, shoemakers, don't have any shoes. Like, we are all really awesome at running our business, doing our jobs. We're really not good at planning for ourselves. And you, executive, owning your own business, entrepreneur, need help with this.
Right. Right. 100%. And I agree with you on that, because that is always the way it is for sure. Because I can tell you my tax return's always the last one that gets filed for sure. So Tyson, and when you work with people, kind of when would you like to get with them to start this planning?
Yeah, I think when they want to admit they need help, when they want to admit that they need someone to help hold them accountable, they want to go through a process and they want to find their answers. The thing about the best advisors out there are the ones that have realized, which is I have realized, I don't have the answers. I have the questions to find out what your answers are.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my agenda. It's what do you want? And giving yourself permission to actually admit what that is. And more importantly, what it isn't.
Right. Right.
So it starts with you actually want to you want to help, and you want to take the find space in that calendar to do it.
Right. So one of the things that you talk about also is that that when you're working with people with the succession planning and stuff like that, it's really a process. It's over time. It's not an event. It's not a one-time thing. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, partially because in life, right, what we see today, we might see something differently tomorrow, because you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And so you kind of live in, so it's an act of planning. It's not a plan end document. It's the act of planning. Until the business is sold, it's an act of planning. And the truth, that's the most honest thing you can let yourself admit to yourself, is that you might want to do something. And if you're going to sell your business to your family member or a third party, or however you're going to transition your business, if you're not going to die with it, it's going to be an act of planning until the day it closes.
Right.
The reality is that um, it really is just it's a process, and it's a process that begins when you realize that if you dropped dead, that's a problem.
Mhm.
I don't care if you're 25 and you're just started your business or you're 85 and you're still running it every day. A succession plan is to have a successful business when you're no longer at the helm of it, whenever that happens.
Right.
And it's just it is I think the ones that go through it, whatever stage of life that you're in, listening to this, that you go through it, you have peace of mind of knowing that if it's just an if this, then that. If I'm incapacitated, this is what has to happen.
Right.
If I die, this is what needs to happen. If I want to sell it, I got the exit planning certification in 2018. There were two at the time. I picked one. I just, in the world of just why not, I got just recently got the other one. Uh, what the other one does, what I find is very interesting. This is the Certified Exit Planning Advisor, SEPA. Um, they make you go through a process of every 90 days. They help the business owner create the thinking process that every 90 days you ask yourself, am I now moving to sell it, or am I still going to run it or grow it? One or the other. And once you make that decision, then you get to put that out of your mind for 90 days.
Hmm.
Because the other part of it is the distraction of the I'm mad today, so damn it, I want to sell the thing.
Yeah.
Or I'm happy today, forget it, I'm not going to sell it anymore. And it's the back and forth and back and forth. And we can just rob ourselves of energy and focus and the yin and the yang of, I mean, that could happen in the morning and the afternoon, depending on the day or what the
Right.
topic is, right? But the fact of, hey, exit planning is a process. And if you, I don't care what you do, even if you died, it's 9 to 12 months when you basically say, I'm ready.
Right.
And therefore, you can think about that in 90-day increments. So part of it is just giving yourself permission. And one of the questions that we ask is, are you wanting to sell your business? Are you wanting to now start the process of selling your business? Or do you want to wait 90 days as we explore how your business is growing and what you want to do? And that's continually kicking that out there and making the conscious decision, which is, it was counterintuitive. It's like, why would you ask yourself that every 90 days if you know you're not going to sell it for 5 years? It's to remind yourself, no, I got these things to do the next 90 days and focus on executing those, which also may be taking vacation. It also may be turning the accounting or turning the quality control or compliance or whatever the HR, whatever the headaches are. Next 90 days, I'm going to find someone to take this over. I'm going to groom somebody to take this on.
So you're talking about grooming people. You know, many of us right now are struggling finding that I'm going to say that young talent to be able to offload some of this stuff too. For the people that are out there that are struggling to find these people, I mean, what what words of wisdom do you have? Because I think we're all dealing with it right now.
Yeah, two things. One, if you're going to bring on anybody else that they are going to take over something that you are doing that they're not right alongside you right now doing, it's a lot easier to transition someone, I think, into some of these executive roles that's basically right in your executive team, and they see the day to day, and you can kind of they intuitively already know some of you and how you work. If you're hiring that, uh, you got two options. You either hire someone and you start from well, first of all, if you're hiring somebody or in either situations, the first thing you have to admit to yourself, are you going to create the space? Which is part of this acronym, are you going to take the time and have the patience to teach it?
Right.
Because if you're the only one that's doing it, you are going to be livid if the person doesn't do the job right, and it's your own damn fault because you didn't teach them to do the job right.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the problem. If you're hiring, whether you're turning that over to somebody or you're hiring that position, and if you're hiring that position, it's either from scratch or it's reprogramming whatever the hell it is they learned before they came into your space. Both can be annoying and both take time. And so it's it's ironic that you have to take you The freedom that you want to enjoy the days that you have, you may have to stress in a little bit of a different way for a different reason for a little period of time. Maybe it's a quarter, maybe it's 2 or a year to make these transitions happen. Um, because you have to give, I was a great quote. I don't know who ever said it or where I got it from, but it was an employee or an executive, anybody that other than you that you bring into your team can only be as successful as you are to the extent that you allow them to fail like you did. And the problem that we make as executives, we bring on these team members and then we rescue them from the failure. Now there's some obvious failures that can't happen, but we create this dependency loop that because you see it coming and then you come in and course correct it, or you override their decision, or you don't tell them the why, they can't learn like you did. And we don't want to see failures happen, so we have no patience for that. And the truth of the matter is some failures are good. They're learning, they're teachable opportunities. Let them fall on their face a little bit. You did.
Right. Yeah,
it's hard to hire on, but if you are patient and you want to teach it and you can be excited about getting it off your plate, you can do it well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think so many times as business owners and leaders, we want to get from, point zero to 10, like overnight type thing. And if we can't get there on our own right now, and we're bringing somebody else in, we do, I'm going to say sometimes get frustrated a little bit quick because, well, why can't they do it like I can? Why can't they move? And it's like, well, because you're that A person, and you're doing that because, like you said, you've already done all the failures, you've already done all of these things to get where you need to be. And I think the big thing is like you said, is having the patience and everything. And do you really want to get somebody there? Because lots of times you may be saying, oh, I got to do this, but you really don't want somebody else to come in there and do that piece of the job or whatever. You want to still kind of flounder in it, and it's not letting you move to that next level. I think that's leaders have that problem sometimes.
Well, and if you're stressed out, right, you're misappropriating your emotions all over the place.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea of the every 90 days. And I think you can take that and use it in so many different things. Not just, oh, do I want to sell the business, but looking back and saying, okay, hey, have I moved where have I moved things in the past 90 days? You talk about space and everything, and it's like, looking forward, okay, where do I plan to be in the next 90 days? Okay, did I get there? I'm not there. What do I need to do to get there?
So there's a great book that Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach wrote called The Gap and the Gain. And it drives me nuts because as an entrepreneur, you're always looking into the future, but the whole concept starts with measuring from the past. And the gain is, do you even realize the gains you made in the last 90 days to calm you down for the gap that you see and what you want to do in the next 90 days, 2 years, 5 years out? And it's that gains that give you the confidence, calm you down. You can see it's going to happen. It level sets, it just puts your mindset right to then look at those gaps instead of being frustrated. Like, oh my gosh, we're not there yet. We're not getting there. But it's just like, well, yeah, but the whole team just did all this. Maybe they should get their heads patted, right? We accomplished the goal for the last 90 days. We didn't accomplish the goal 10 years out. By the way, your 10-year goal continues to be an evolution rolling time frame.
Right, right. Tyson, we've covered a lot of stuff. I could sit here and talk to you all day about this, because I think it's something that even for the business owners that aren't looking to get out in the next 5 years or whatever, this is a good exercise for all leaders, all business owners to go through, because we can use it in so many different aspects of our business. What questions have I not asked you wish I had?
Yeah, I think the question is that why is it total succession and not total sale or total exit? And it's because you as listening to this need to get your mind around a succession is part of a successful business strategy, just like any other business plan. It is part of what your clients, your customers, your team, your loved ones need from you to make sure it's in place. And so if you have and it's something that you need to work on. It's not a one and done. It evolves with your business and with you. And that's why it was called total succession, because it really has to do with everything. And it's just a plan for when you're not there.
Right. Right. So Tyson, people like what they hear. They want to reach out to you. They want to learn more about, your space framework and so forth. Where can they find it? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so a lot of people, the quickest way is just that, LinkedIn profile. They click on it, send me a message, reach out. There's a totalsuccession.com website for the book. We're tossing around whether or not we're going to write one that's just kind of non-industry specific, because there's just a lot of harmony in succession period. Businesses are businesses. It's just which business is a little different. But there's principles there that can transcend industries. But in the meantime, that's how you'd reach out. The Tyson Ray's LinkedIn profile, or go to totalsuccession.com.
Great. Tyson, I really appreciate your time today. It's been a great discussion.
Thanks for having me on.
Sure. Hey, this week my guest was Tyson Ray, and he is the CEO of Form Wealth Advisors. And I'll see you guys next week.